Hey everyone, this is Kevin from Quiet Ego, and today I'm looking at a game that was apparently created by a few students in the span of only 2 weeks. It's a game called Aura, and it's currently on Steam for only $1. So the purpose of this video is to actually just give some feedback to the game designers, because while I enjoyed a couple aspects of the game, I actually had a few issues that I think could be fixed and improved upon. I want to clarify that I'm not here to just bash the game. That's just not my intention. I want this game to be improved upon, actually, because they do have a great framework for a really fun game, and I think it's important to discuss the weak points of games so we can learn and get better at making great games. Alright, on to the review. So the two things I liked about the game were the aesthetic and the sounds. The character and the world they've created are unique, and I like the way that the graphics bring that to life. It was fun getting further and further in the game because of the new places that you get to see. And I thought the music matched the world perfectly. The sounds are great and go with the world really well. Take a listen. So the music and the sounds are really great, but for some reason they cut out the music after the first world. So all that's left are the environmental sounds, but that seems more like a glitch than anything else, so not that big a deal. Alright, so now onto my critiques. A quick tutorial would have helped a lot at the beginning. I didn't know how each of the mechanics worked and had to figure everything out by guessing. Next, there's these shards that you're actually supposed to pick up that are scattered throughout the level, and they're in this diagonal line. And for some reason, they're in a oddly angled diagonal line. I think it would be better if they were in a straight line or a perfectly diagonal line. And what I mean by that is your character moves to the left and right, obviously at a diagonal angle because it's a runner, you're moving forward. I think that it would make more sense for the diagonal line to match the angle at which your runner runs, as opposed to what it is now, where you have to kind of move your character obviously to the left, but then kind of like awkwardly keep tapping the left button. I think it would make more sense if the shards were angled in a way where your runner could gather all the shards without having to let go of the left or right button. I think a lives or health mechanic would help. Dying from the very first thing you run into doesn't help with the replayability and just isn't that much fun. Maybe something that could work is that when you run into something, you actually lose a few pips of your phase shift meter. This could make managing that meter instantly more fun. I noticed that there was no UI icon for the sprint. I never knew when I could use it or how quick the cooldown was, and I really cannot figure it out still. There were a few times where I got stuck behind rocks but couldn't get out going left or right because using the sprint was the only way to get out, but I had recently used it, so I died. Giving me an ability separate from sprint where I could dash to the side at the cost of some of my meter could be a possible fix for this. There were a few times where I died seemingly out of nowhere. Granted, these were times when I was not in the seeing into the future phase, but having absolutely no visual cue when not in that phase feels a little cheap. Being in that future phase should feel like having a cheat code on, but currently it feels like it's the only way to play the game, so I'd rather the meter get used up quicker and be forced to use it less. There doesn't seem to be a drastic enough change in the visuals when you are in the future phase, but this is only in certain areas of the run. In the first area of the run, you're in the desert, and that's not a problem because it shifts into a different type of blue. So when you're in kind of the forest or the underwater kind of blue world, that's when it's not very obvious. And lastly, I felt like the shaking camera is just a little too harsh. Sometimes I'd be in a tight situation where I'm having to do a quick maneuver, and the shaking made it really hard to move around. Okay, those are my critiques of the game. I'd actually like to see the students keep working on this because I think it's pretty interesting, unique. I like the graphics, I do like the aesthetic, and it's an awesome framework to be improved upon. I'm pretty impressed that, seemingly 2 weeks of work, they came up with this game. Anyway, what do you think? Were some of my critiques wrong, a little too harsh? I'd love to hear what you think, so let me know in the comment section below. And if you're interested in more game reviews like this, hit that subscribe button to stay updated on the latest videos. Thanks for watching.